Here's what you need to know about the biggest slave uprising that you've probably never heard of. So, the Whitney Plantation of Louisiana is an open-air museum of slavery dedicated to sharing the suppressed stories of Africans and their descendants who were enslaved in the state of Louisiana. You can go to a real-life plantation with no hoop skirts, no fancy furniture, no stories about the owner's charming daughter. Instead, you'll learn about the efforts of Charles Delaune and his team of enslaved fighters who led the German Coast Uprising in Louisiana in 1811. These heads, displayed at the Whitney, represent the enslaved, who were executed for their part in the revolt. It was the largest in U.S. history, though few whites lost their lives. It began in La Place on the German coast. Enslaved men marched from the sugar fields toward the city of New Orleans, their numbers swelling at each plantation. Armed with only farm implements during this 20-mile march, they burned 5 plantation houses and several fields of crops. White men formed a militia and began hunting down the self-emancipating, formerly enslaved men. In the end, 95 enslaved people lost their lives. The white men made an example of 44 of them, cutting off their heads and displaying them on pikes to intimidate the other enslaved people into compliance. This was a common intimidation tactic used throughout the U.S. South. Today, descendants of these brave revolutionaries march down that same path on the anniversary of the uprising as part of Louisiana's African American History Alliance. Living history like this allows us to learn and reintegrate these suppressed stories into our understanding of our nation and of ourselves.